All right. Tag friends. Tag friends in the group. Tag friends in the group. Who is ready? Yes, I'm on a few minutes early. Let's tag some friends in the group. We are going to spend 3 days together. We're going to spend about 45 minutes, 50 minutes a day. And I want to empower you. Who would actually like to have a 6-figure signature course that you can sell this holiday season? All right. Hi, guys. My name's Ann McDonald. If you don't already know who I am, I want you to tag somebody while we're getting ready. We got 2 minutes before the training is going to start, and I am on fire. I have a fire in my belly. I'm going to tell you why we're doing this pop-up challenge in just a minute once we get started at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So if you are not already, tag a friend in the group. Let's go ahead. I want everybody to chat in. Chime in the chat. Where are you watching from? Are you in your car? Are you getting your hair done? Are you getting your nails done? Are you taking the kids to school? What are you doing? Let me know. Well, if you're driving, wait until you pull over, but let me know where you're watching this from. I am just, look, like, are you ready? Like, here's the question. Do you have a mandated message that you have had this resistance? Like every time you try to get this thing rocking and rolling, every time you try to get your signature course up or you try to do something online, something stops you, right? That alarm is for somebody. I don't know who that was for, but something stops you, right? Let me know in the chat if you have felt the resistance to your online success. All right. Well, there's a reason for that, friends. There's a reason. And the enemy of our souls does not want you out there on the airways prospering. Okay. He doesn't want you prospering. But the truth is that God designed you for such a time as this. He designed you. Just say, I'm here for a reason, right? I'm here. Just tap yourself like, I'm here for a reason. All right. We got 1 minute to go. I want you to tag at least 2 friends in the group. Tell them to hop on. If you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay. If you're watching the live, put hashtag live. All right. Are you ready? So here are my 3 questions for you. Who's ready to have consistent cash flow? Consistent cash flow for your online idea, your vocational ministry, your online business. Okay. Let me know if you want consistent cash flow, put that in the chat. I'm going to tell you a story in just a minute about why I'm doing this pop-up. Okay. Literally last night, after a conversation with one of our super wealthy clients, I was like, we're going to do this challenge. Okay. So who wants consistent cash flow? Number 2, who just wants to have their mandated message, the message that you feel like is burning inside of you that you can't get out? Who's ready to have your message get out to the people that it's designed to get out to, right? You feel like you've been laboring against this thing and you can't, it's like, you know how when you start a lawnmower and it doesn't turn over, you feel like, and every time I try, something happens, something takes me out. Who's in that position? Let me know. Who's like, I got a mandated message that I know that I need to bring. All right. And the third is like, who's just done with being broke, right? Are you done with being broke? I mean, let's just be honest, right? It's hard out there right now for some people, but you know that you have wealth to give. You know that you have something inside of you and you're like, Ann, I'm just done with not knowing how to conquer this thing, right? I want to master the money thing. I want to master this thing. I want this thing under my feet. All right. You guys ready? Can you tell I'm like on fire? Okay, so for those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Ann McDonald. I am a luxury interior designer by trade, like way back in the day. Okay, how many of you have a trade? How many of you have a skill set that you're like you're actually known for that skill set, right? Maybe you're a designer, a decorator, a real estate agent, an engineer, a nurse, a coach, a consultant. Let me know in the chat what your quote trade is. Okay, now, in 2008, I was struggling in my interior design business. I had lots of clients. I had lots of press. I had lots of travel, but I had very little cash flow. Okay. I had great revenue, but I had very little profit. So a friend of mine was like, hey, Ann, you should do this online thing in 2008. This is like before ClickFunnels. This is before GoToWebinar. This is before any of that stuff. We were doing like janky teleseminar things. Well, fast forward. How many of you have ever had something that you thought was going to be super easy and then like you spent years on it? Okay, well, that was me. I thought, oh, no problem. I got this online thing. 2008, long story short, 2008 to 2013. It took me 5 flipping years to get this thing. Okay, so that's why I'm so passionate about training you guys. Now, why am I doing the training today, tomorrow, and the next day on 6-figure signature courses? I'm going to ask for Talk Back Church with you guys. Okay. This is like, I'm the youngest of 5 kids. I had to learn to speak up or I got run over. Okay. Anybody else from a big family? So I want you guys to participate in the chat. Why? Because that will literally help you retain more of what we're going to cover today. And I believe that what we're going to bring to you today, tomorrow, and the next day could radically shift your holiday season. Okay, who's up for that? Let me know one in the chat if you're like, yeah, I could use a shift this holiday season. All right, so why am I doing this training today? Okay, so Patrick and I have we've got products and services that cover the range of prices and scopes. One of our products and services is a high-level consulting mastermind, okay? People pay us upwards of $75,000 to be in this consulting mastermind. Can we just have a minute on that? Okay, they pay us upwards of $75,000. We spent some time with them over at the Ritz-Carlton, right over the hill. We help them map out their entire businesses, and we help them take their businesses from offline to online, okay? Some of the businesses that we have helped do this: Christmas tree farms, auto dealerships, financial services, consultants in the financial space. Like those are the kinds of people that we work with on this level, okay? So somebody write in the chat, big wealth. Okay, write in the chat, big wealth. Okay, now, how many of you know even big wealth can have zero cash flow? Okay, even big wealth can have zero cash flow. Okay, so last night, having a conversation with a client who has big wealth, and they were like, Ann, we're dying on cash flow. And I'm like, well, are you doing your information products? And they're like, well, no, I didn't really think it mattered that much. And I'm like, hello. So who's happy? I had the conversation last night because I hung up that call and I was like, if that client is having the cash flow issue, then something tells me that some of you could use an increase in cash flow. Am I right? Like, can you tell I'm like fired up? I was so fired up, I couldn't sleep last night. That's how I was like, guys, right? Just pick up your phone. Just pick up your phone unless you're watching. Right here, this is your tool to cash flow. Okay, this is your tool. Your cell phone is your tool to cash flow with your signature courses. Okay, all right, who's excited? Who's excited? Okay, I've got Patrick monitoring the chat, and I just want to know from you guys, like, what is it? Do you want cash flow? Do you want to get your message out? Do you want to break through resistance? Let me know in the chat what you guys want to learn about. Okay, because I have a whole agenda here that I'm going to cover with you guys for 3 days. We good? All right, let's dive in. Get a piece of paper. Okay. Actually, let me ask you a question before we get paper. How many of you feel the resistance? 1 in the chat if yes, 2 if no. You're like, no, Ann, I got it. I'm rocking and rolling. I'm clearing $100,000 a month, no problem. Okay. Or 1 if you're like, yeah, I'm feeling the resistance a little bit. Like, I've tried to get my online product started. I don't have an audience. I can't figure out my offer. Nobody buys. I don't know where to host my course. I don't know what to do. Okay. Can you let me know? Right? Okay. So in that space, here's what I want to share with you about this client and the reason I'm doing this. Big wealth, and I'm not just talking money, I'm talking a depth of knowledge. Okay. How many of you have a depth of knowledge on what you train or carry? I know I see Kim's on. Kim has a whole paper business and she's got this massive depth of knowledge, right? Pam's on. Pam's like this amazing coach, right? So you have this body of wealth, but what we have to do is we have to learn how to take this body of wealth and then turn it into cash flow and cash infusions consistently online. All right. So here's my question to you. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, I need cash flow yesterday. 1, like, and I'm kind of doing okay. Like the business is kind of doing okay. 10 is like, I need cash flow yesterday. Kind of like this client that we were talking to last night. They're like, I need cash flow yesterday. Let me know in the chat, 1 to 10. Okay. Let me know how people are doing in that cash flow space. All right. Now, here's what I want to share with you. There is no shame. Okay. I want everybody to write in the chat, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching it live. There is no shame when it comes to cash flow, whether you have it or you don't have it. Okay. Because this is part of the process of growth. Okay. This is part of the process of growth. Okay. Just write no shame. Okay. So let's go back to where I started and where I am now. I created a course for my interior design business that I could sell one to many. Okay, write in the chat, one to many. Okay. This simple course, when I finally got the breakthrough, it was $495. Somebody write in the chat, $495. Okay. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but who could use like an extra $4,000 to $5,000 every month between now and January? Could you guys use an extra $4,000 to $5,000 between now and the end of January through the holiday season? Okay, let me know. One in the chat, right? So that's where I was when I created my first online course. Now we create courses where we make over $100,000 in a day. Like, are you kidding me? Okay. But when I started with my little $495 course. Okay. And what I want to uncover with you are 3 different ways that you can create your 6-figure signature course. Are we ready? Let me know. 1 in the chat. 1 in the chat. Okay. All right, guys, tag a friend. Okay. Can you tag at everyone in that so that everybody knows that we're live? Right. Tag a friend, guys. Okay. Got your piece of paper. Do you have a piece of paper or a note taking, something that you can take notes on? Let me know. Okay. All right. So there are 3 types of signature courses that you can create that will take you to 6 figures. Okay. 3 different types, no matter what market you are in. Okay. There are only 3 types of signature courses. All right. Now, a signature course is your flagship course. Okay. How many of you are familiar with like Harley Davidson? Okay. You're familiar with Harley Davidson, right? They're the motorcycle guys, right? So they have a signature motorcycle. Like it's the cream of the crop. It's the signature motorcycle that everybody wants. They want to get that year. Okay. How many of you are familiar with like Target, right? Target, like the store, right? Do you know that Target has signature Target products, right? They have their own in-house brand. Okay. They have their own Target brand. That's their signature brand. Well, in the same way, you have a signature way of showing up. And that's what we want to capitalize, but we can only do it in one of 3 ways. Okay. One of 3 ways. All right. Now, write these down. Okay. You can either be the host, the producer, or the expert. Okay. Now, I have been in this game since 2008 in the online space. There are lots of people that make lots of different types of courses. but they don't succeed unless they are dialed in as one of those three types. Okay. The host. So write in the chat, the host, the producer, or the expert. Okay. Now, what do I mean by this? Like, Ann, what is a host? What's a producer? And what's an expert? And what in God's name does that have to do with creating an online course? All right, well, just hang with me for a second. Okay. How many of you know who Oprah Winfrey is? Right? Everybody know who Oprah Winfrey is? Okay. All right. What about Steven Spielberg? Have you guys ever heard of Steven Spielberg? Okay. Steven Spielberg, right? Okay. What about Tony Robbins? Have you ever heard of Tony Robbins? Okay. Love him or hate him, love him or hate Spielberg, love or hate or Oprah, doesn't matter to me. Okay. I actually happen to love all three of them. I have a heart turned towards them, right? For prayer and intercession and blessing. But those three people represent the types, the only types of signature courses that actually prosper in the online space. Okay. So who can tell me in the chat, what kind of course does Oprah create? Oprah creates products and services where she's the host. Okay. She's the host. Does Oprah know everything about her topic? No, right? She brings other people in. And who can tell me, do we think that Oprah's done pretty well on that? Right? Has she done pretty well? Here she's got like some beautiful houses, right, around the world. She's done pretty well, right? She's influenced a lot of people. Okay. So the first type of signature course that you can make is actually host. The second type, let's talk about Steven Spielberg, right? Anybody ever see the movie E.T., right? E.T., one of the largest grossing movies of all time, E.T. What other movies has Steven Spielberg produced, right? Steven Spielberg is the producer model, okay? He's the producer model of a signature course, all right? Now, the next type, most people, okay, can I just have a minute here? How we doing? How we doing? Give me a 1 in the chat. Let me know if we're hanging in there, if we're doing okay, right? We got people on live, we're watching. This is my give to you guys, okay? How many of you have ever been in that place where you thought, I'm not good enough, I don't have enough to say or to share, or like, and somebody else is doing it better than I am, right? Let me know in the chat. How many of you are coaches, consultants? You need help with your marketing. You need help with like how to actually put your course together, right? And you're like, yeah, but somebody else is doing it better. Okay. Somebody else knows more than I do. Let me know in the chat. Let's have some truth time here. Okay. Because that's the, it's like the ball and chain of the expert. Okay. The other way that you can create a 6-figure signature course is by being the expert, okay? The expert. So what are our 3 ways? Host, producer, and expert. All right, here's the question for you. The first thing I need you to do is tell me in the chat which one you are for your industry, okay? Which one? Are you a host? Do you interview other experts? Do you interview other people? Do you have other people and you're sharing their information? Are you the host? Number 2, are you a producer? Are you like, Ann, I'm a little more behind the scenes. I like to just gather all the people and bring them together and then showcase their expertise. Are you the producer? Okay. Or are you the actual expert? Are you like Kim, who's got her paper business, right? Like she's the actual expert. If you go follow her, she's got a huge audience on YouTube, right? Like she's the actual expert, okay? So let me know in the chat. I'll go back after this is done and we'll see how we're doing, like what different types of signature courses you have. Can I tell you something, friend? I'm going to lean in for this one because I want you to understand the magnitude of this. One of the reasons your courses and your marketing isn't landing, okay, we're going to have real talk, is that you haven't clearly decided which one you are, and then you haven't clearly and consistently articulated your stuff in that voice. Okay. If I had a mic I could drop, I would drop it. Okay. I need like some of those Joe Rogan sounds or something that go off in the background, or I don't know, like Saturday Night Live stuff. Okay. That is one of the biggest reasons. Okay. And here's the thing, by now you should know that's not your fault. Like, who told you? Nobody tells you this stuff, right? By now you should be going like, okay, thank you, Anne, right? Thank you, right? By now you should be understanding that like, it's actually not your fault that you haven't succeeded yet. You just didn't have the nuanced information that you need in order to prosper in this new realm, which is online. Okay. All right. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever seen a place on a video that you wanted to go? How many of you have ever seen like a vacation destination or a beach or a mountain or a hotel or some place that you wanted to visit and you watched it on a video? Okay. Then you got there and you were like, well, I went there in person and the video didn't quite match the in person. Has that ever happened to anybody? Right? You're like, well, that stunk, right? Maybe you found this really cool restaurant for a really special evening and you're like, wow, all the reviews are amazing and it looks beautiful and it's this and it's that. And then you get there and you're like, this is awful, right? It's like terrible, right? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Okay. There's something that's incongruent between the two. Okay. So here's what I want to tell you about your signature course voice. Okay. You must decide so that you can be congruent, whether you are in person or you are online. You must decide, am I the host like Oprah? Am I the producer like Spielberg? Or am I the expert like Tony Robbins? Okay. Is this making sense? Let me know, one in the chat, if this is making sense. It's very important because if we don't get a hold of this for the way that you show up in the creation of your signature course, here's what's going to happen. Have you ever seen something online and you're like, doesn't pass the sniff test? Let me know. Have you ever been like about to buy something and you're like, no, can't do it. Something doesn't smell right, right? It doesn't pass the sniff test. How many of you have seen an ad and you're like, I think that sounds like something that I need or I want, and you're like engaged in it and you're like, nope, something's not right. And you just walk away from it. You don't engage, okay? And then later you find out, yeah, maybe that person wasn't so good. Maybe they weren't so honest. There was something that was off about it, okay? Well, one of the fastest ways that you can eliminate that for yourself is to actually be completely congruent with who you are when you're creating your products and services. Okay. Now, who would like to know an insider tip about how people like Tony Robbins make hundreds of millions of dollars with their courses? Okay. Who would like to know an insider tip about how people who are experts like Tony Robbins actually like blow other people out of the water? Do you want to know how he does it? He has all three voices in his courses and in his offerings. He is not only the expert, he's primarily the expert, he's also a producer and he's a host. Okay. But if you've ever listened to him in depth, you'll notice that his languaging and his patterning shifts. Okay. By now, I hope that you're getting what I'm giving to you is actually money. Okay. This is money in terms of how you're going to communicate for your 6-figure signature course. Okay. This is important, team. Okay. Just say, this is important. Just say like, this is an insider thing that took me 5 years to get a hold of. Okay. So like I said, we hung up the phone with this client last night and I'm like, this guy has big wealth, like big wealth. What's the issue? Well, he wasn't leveraging his authoritative voice as an expert in his online courses. In fact, he wasn't even doing them. He's like, well, I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. I'm like, dude, we make $100,000 in a day from our courses. Okay. So who's ready to actually dive in? Who's actually ready to dive in and learn some of these tactics? Okay, let me know, one in the chat. All right, so can you guys let me know what your areas of expertise are? Okay, I would really like to know what your areas of expertise are so that I can actually do the back and forth with you right now. I'm going to try to pull up the content right here so I can see some of the chats. I'm not seeing the comments. Oh, okay. So Pam, so Jennifer Tate, yes, this is important. Okay. So one of the things that will resonate or repel, write that in the chat, resonate or repel your clients and your future buyers is how you show up in your marketing, in your delivery, on your social media. And if we don't know if you're the expert, the host, or the producer, we won't actually know how to target and to leverage your voice. Does this make sense? Please let me know, one, if this is making sense. Because when we go through and we do a deep dive on some of these high, like I call them big wealth clients, what I noticed was once we consistently like made their languaging congruent, everything shifted. Okay. Everything shifted. Okay. So let me know in the chat. I'm not sure if I'm how we're doing on this, if we're getting the engagement on this.
There's a ton of comments, but I
Okay.
can't see them.
Okay. So thank you, Jennifer Tate. I just see that comment. Resonate or repel versus how you show up. Okay. So let me ask you a question. Write in the chat. Are you the host like Oprah? Are you the producer like Spielberg? Or are you the expert like Tony Robbins? Okay. Which one are you first? Okay. By now you understand that eventually you want 7-figure brands, you're going to be all three, but we need to pick one first. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is decide which one are we going to be first. Okay. So let me know, one in the chat, when you've got which one you're going to be first. Okay. Are you going to be the host, the producer, or the expert? All right. Host, producer, expert. Okay. Pam's going to be the expert. All right. We've got, I'm sure that Kim is going to be the expert because she's already the expert. All right. So what I'd like to do today is actually talk to you about the expert one first. Is that good? So Linnell, can we talk about the expert one first? Really appreciate that. So what we're going to do is each day when we're doing this training, this pop-up challenge, and by the way, could you please invite your friends into this group who need to hear this? They're going to be able to watch the replay as well. Okay, so invite your friends into the group. They just need to put their email in. Okay, this is my like fire in the belly gift to you guys. All right, this is my give to you. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about being the expert. That's what we're going to unpack today. Then tomorrow, we're going to layer on being the host. And then day 3, we're going to layer on being the producer. That's how you build a 7-figure brand. Okay. But in order to get to 7 figures, what do we have to go through first? We have to get to 6 figures first. Okay. And in order to get to 6 figures first, you got to make your first sale. Okay. So somebody write first sale in the chat. You got to make your first sales. Okay. With our mastermind this morning, I actually did a member makeover walkthrough with Iris, who's one of our mastermind members. And we actually took something that she did and we turned it into a product that could generate for her over $9 $5,000 like now. Does that sound good? Does that sound good for you guys? Okay. My first breakthrough was less than $5,000. You would have thought I made $1 million. But here's the thing about your signature courses. So Pam, Linnell, Kim, Jennifer, whoever else is on live, I want you to understand this. Once you get this down once, guess what you can do? What's the power of a signature course? You put it on repeat. You put it on repeat. You keep pressing repeat. Okay. All right. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to get out a piece of paper. Okay. If you don't already, for tomorrow, I want you to have a fresh notebook. I want you to go to Rite Aid or Target or wherever you go, and I want you to buy a fresh notebook. I don't care if it's the kind that Patrick likes to use. It's like the inexpensive kind from Rite Aid, right? Or if you want a fancy pants one, I don't care, but I want you to have a signature course notebook. Can we do that? Give me a 1 in the chat, a signature course notebook. And the thing that you're going to do first is you're going to take your notes from today and you're going to put it into the notebook. Okay. So what are the 3 types of signature courses? The only 3 types that work: host, producer, expert. Okay. Host, producer, expert. Now, the first type of signature course is the expert. Okay. Why is the expert so important, even if you're not going to be the expert? Could somebody guess why this thing is the game changer? Okay. By now, you should understand that I actually have some authority in the space. I literally get contracted by people, by startups, to create pitch decks. Do you guys know what a pitch deck is? A pitch deck is where fancy pants investors want to get a whole bunch of money from other fancy pants investors. And one of the best ways is to use my signature course model. Why? Because it works with human psychology. Okay. So what I'm going to give to you right now is incredibly important. Okay. Just write down #important. #important. Okay. All right. As an expert, you're going to get this piece of paper, and I'm actually going to go to the whiteboard and I'm going to draw on the screen, and we're going to do, is it okay if I do a training for you guys? Is it okay if I do a teach for a moment? I want you to draw 4 quadrants. Even if you're not the expert, I want you to think of yourself as the expert for right now. Okay. Now, I want you to write in the upper, this quadrant up here, this quadrant number 1, I want you to write how much income you want to earn this month. Okay. I want you to write how much income you want to earn this month. All right. Let me know 1 in the chat when you have the answer to that question. How much income do you want to earn this month? Okay. Now I want you to write below that. I want you to write how much your signature course will cost. Okay. How much is your signature course going to cost? Now, some of you who are prophetic in nature and you're already seeing down the road, you're going to start to see how this little exercise is going to work out. But we need to know, how many of you have ever been on a trip where you didn't plug in MapQuest before you got started, or you didn't have Google Maps in before you got started, and you're like, uh-oh, miss that exit, miss that exit, miss that exit. Anybody? Okay. So what the first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to figure out the price of your signature course as an expert. Okay. Let me know 1 in the chat when you've got, okay. So we've got, Darmish has got $997, 10K. Okay. Pam, we need a price on your signature course. Jennifer, we need a price on your signature course. I will just let you know, guys, that I have signature courses that are priced from $47 to $35,000. Okay. $47 is the price of my signature course for my holiday decor brand. $35,000 is the price of my signature course for investors who want pitch decks. Okay. Do you see the difference? Let me know one in the chat if that makes sense. We've got two, we have a whole bunch of lifestyle brands and they all follow the same, like, it's almost like a cookie cutter structure. But the truth is, holiday decor has a different vibe and audience, right? That's a $47 audience versus pitch decks for investors for startups. $35K, no big deal. Okay, do you understand the difference? One in the chat if we're getting that. Please let me know, okay? All right, so now that we know how much your signature course is going to cost, I want you to take this one, how much income you want to earn this month, and I want you to write it over here. Did any of you have to adjust your number? Okay. How much do you want to earn? You're like looking at, man, Ann, I got a $47 information product and I wanted to earn $10,000. Well, that's maybe going to be a lot of sales. So what we want to do is we want to reevaluate, right? How the price, right? How much is your signature course going to cost? How much is your signature course? Okay. Now I see, Dharmesh, you've got two different prices. So let me know first if I'm pronouncing your name properly. And then second, which one do you want to choose? Because we're only going to focus on one for this exercise. Okay. $10,000 is a great price point for a signature course. I personally love that price point, $5,000 to $10,000, because it's your flagship signature course. Okay. But I do understand that different industries have different standards, right? Kim's in the paper space. Kim's signature course in the paper space is likely going to be a lot less expensive. Okay. She could probably do $495 or $1,000 for her signature course. All right. I think, Kim, you could probably get away with $5K, but we can move past that for right now. Okay. Now I want you to do some math. How many of these courses are you going to have to sell to hit that number? Okay. How many of your courses are you going to have to sell to hit that number? All right. We're going to get somewhere. I want you to hang with me on this. This is important, guys. Okay. This is important. Okay. Because if we don't know where we're going, we actually don't know how to hone our expert voice. Okay. Right in the chat. This is about honing and making my expert voice congruent. Okay. Congruent. Okay. I'm going to stop the share for a second as I want to go eyeball to eyeball with you guys. If I could only give you one thing to get the cash infusion from your signature courses that you want, I would give you this. Your voice must be congruent with either the host, producer, or expert. And I mean congruent all the way through. Okay. Now, who can guess how my voice is different for a $47 holiday decorating product versus a $35,000 signature course pitch deck product? I'm looking straight in the camera. Who can guess that the congruency and the sound of that expert voice is different? Are you getting this? One in the chat if you're getting this. Because this is the reason that most of your products aren't selling. You don't have a clear picture where you're going with the specific product that you want to sell as your signature course this season. Is this making sense? One, if this is making sense.
Kim is $497.
Okay, cool. Kim, $497. I love that.
Says she's hearing she's underpriced.
Okay, Jen Tate, what's your price if you're underpriced? Okay, Kim, I love that price point for you, $497. Okay, you may want to split test $495 and $497 to see which is working best, because we have a $495 that we split test with a $497 recently. It's just a side note for Kim because Kim's already in the game. Might want to split test and see which one your audience likes best. Okay, are we getting this particular piece? Okay, now how much money do you guys want to make this season from your signature course? How much do you want to make in any given month. Okay, in any given month, how much do you want to make? And how many products do you have to sell? Okay, let me know, because until we have this written out where we can actually see it, we actually don't know how to use our voice in our social media and our marketing and our tonalities, right? We don't actually know how to weave the expert voice into the signature course, right? Let me ask you, let me tell you a story. How many of you have ever been to like a super luxury store? Okay. You've been to a Bentley, like the car, like a Bentley showroom, or you've been to a private jet broker. Okay. How many of you have ever been to maybe a dealership for Range Rovers or Mercedes, right? You've been to a super luxury store. Okay, let me know, one in the chat. Versus you've been to a ball game where they're selling t-shirts after the game, hawking them on the street for half price. Okay, how many of you guys are getting the example that I'm giving you right now, right? Both experts, both have products to sell. One is a jet, a private jet, a Range Rover autobiography edition, which happens to be my weakness, or they're selling t-shirts after the game. And it's the guy out in front of the stadium and he's hawking, right? I go to football games. I love football games. My son's a football coach at Stanford, right? So they're hawking the t-shirts at the end of the game, after the game, outside the stadium, right? $7, $10, right? Versus 160,000. Okay. Let me ask you a question. How are the voices different for those two experts? How's the experience different for those two experts? One, if you're getting what I'm dropping, by now you should be seeing what I'm dropping, right? Because my tonality and my energy and my expert voice for my $47 stress-free holiday home challenge is radically different than my voice as an expert for a $35,000 training for a pitch deck for startup investors. Okay. Are we seeing this? 1 if yes, 2 if no. 1 if yes, 2 if no. Okay. Let me know in the chat. This is why you haven't made sales. It's not your fault. Okay. Just write that in the chat. It's not my fault. I didn't know. Okay. I didn't know. I didn't know. Of course, now that I hear it, of course it makes sense, but I didn't know, right? I'm just trying to do the best I can, putting my products and services out. I'm trying to bring my products and services to market. Maybe I've got a $5,000 product, a $500 product. I've got a $5 product, and I'm trying to talk the same for all of those. And your audience is going, wait, it's not congruent. Right? Like, if somebody was trying to sell me a $160,000 Range Rover outside the stadium with that voice, I wouldn't buy it. I would think there was something wrong with it, right? And if somebody was trying to sell me a t-shirt inside a Range Rover dealership for $160,000, I'd be like, you are flipping nuts. It's like, no. Okay. So one of the things I want you guys to take away from today is your congruency on your products with their prices is the name of the game. Okay. Your congruency, the online market space has a resonance and an energy. Okay. And the people who are actually going to purchase from you need to move from one side of their brain to the other side of their brain with ease. In order to do that, you must master your congruency in your voice with your products and services at the price point that you are presenting them. Okay. One, if this is making sense, because this, like I said, last night I got off the phone and I was like, Patrick, I'm doing a 3-day challenge. And we literally pulled out the calendar, and guys, I have a full week, right? I have a very full week. And I was like, no, we're doing this. We're doing this because there's so many of you who have great products and services that the market should be eating up, right? Especially this holiday season. They should be like lapping them up. Like, this is amazing. I have to have this. I have to see this. But for whatever reason, there's a disconnect, right? There's a discord, right? And so what I want to do with you guys is unpack that discord and make it congruent for you this week. Does that sound good? All right, let's take a couple of takeaways. What's your homework tonight? I want you to make sure when you come back tomorrow, put it in the chat afterwards. Tell me what your price point is that you've decided on, right? Is it the $47 for the holiday decor, stress-free holiday home? Or is it the $35,000 for the pitch deck for investors for startups using my signature course framework? Which is it, right? And then how many do you need to sell to hit your financial goals? How many do you need to sell to hit your financial goals? Okay. All right, so we've got Jennifer Tate at $3,995. We've got Pam Pertiller at $2,000. We've got Darmish at $997 and $10K. Darmish, I want to know which one you're choosing, right? Which one are you going to go with, the $997 or $10K? Because one of those has to be the primary door that people are going to enter into, and that's where we're going to direct your congruent expert voice. Okay, does that sound good? All right, guys, has this been fun? Do we have any takeaways? Can we just put some takeaways in the chat? What is one takeaway you got from today besides hands on fire over this issue? Okay, because none of you, can I just put it this way? None of you should be lacking cash flow. Not one of you. Okay, it's just a matter of making sure that we make the right decisions. We hone our voice, right? Congruency. This was fun. I'm raising my price. I love it, guys. Right? We have to have that. Okay. 3 types of signature courses. Thank you, Pam. I love it. I love it. All right. So here's your homework. Tag, get a couple of friends in the group. Let's get everybody prospering this holiday season. Okay. Let's get some cash flow. Let's get some like mandated messages out there. Let's get rid of the resistance, the things that are holding you back. All right. Let's go ahead and get you into the marketplaces that you are designed by God to inhabit. Does that sound cool? All right. New notebook, get some friends in the group, and let's get ready for tomorrow. Because tomorrow, what we're going to do is we're going to unpack the actual timeline of how you construct and sell your signature course. All right. That's it, guys. I'm going to be back at 11 a.m. tomorrow, and I want to see more faces on. All right. And if you're watching the replay, do #replay. If there's something you want to learn about with signature courses, drop it in the chat.
Where will the replay be?
The replay will be right here in the Facebook group. This is like, I'm here for you guys, right? You guys are in the group. The replay stays up. Here it is. All right. That's it. Right. Peace out. Let's live long and prosper. Okay. All right, team. Love you much. We'll see you tomorrow. Tag your friends.